So we tell the story. We write what it is, and we wanted to be able to tell what this truck really is and what it was.
When you talk with the Historical Society's creative director, Dan Jones.
The back end was rebuilt because it was originally had the tank off, and this truck was actually up in Grand Rapids and owned by a person that was from White Bear Lake.
You get a sense he not only knows his history.
If you look up top, you see the 1930 firehouse.
But also his passion for its preservation.
The foresight that the folks back in the 70s had to restore that 1929, and a lot of credit goes to the retired firefighters.
Jones worked in marketing for years before being hired by the Society's executive director, Sarah Hansen, finally putting his history degree to use.
It's a dream. I grew up here in White Bear. I'm born and raised, and to be able to work for the Historical Society where, my degree is history, it's really cool.
We recently talked about the exhibit at the Armory, Bears Building Community, and the impact of the 1920s on White Bear Lake.
Well, I'm figuring they're going to memorize it, because
the 20s were a decade that began with a roar and ended with a crash, with economic growth and prosperity in between, especially in White Bear Lake.
Sarah saw all these things happening in the 20s, 100 years ago, and so that's really where the 100 years of building community came from. A lot happened that we overlook, and I think we forget about, that really has become the foundation of today, of what we see as modern White Bear Lake area.
The exhibit runs through July 30th and has something for everyone, including kids.
One of the coolest things is making this giant puzzle. It's 8 feet by 8 feet, acrylic pieces.
It features history about the automotive industry in White Bear Lake.
And what's unusual about these old trucks is that they're a double clutch. So you actually had 2 clutches working both feet to drive this truck. So there's only about 2 or 3 people in town that can drive this truck.
Jones sharing video of the massive undertaking of getting this 1932 Dodge fire truck inside.
Here's straps put underneath it, craned up, and swung in. I think you can see the door behind me. Literally swung in to a certain point, tires down, and it was it was really cool.
The White Bear Lake Area Historical Society has big things in its future, with plans to renovate their current space.
In the work that we've been doing with, getting contract bids for the future improvements of the Armory.
But for now, they're hoping to share the past.
For basically a population of about 45,000, it's unusual to have a historical society like we have that is active, and the amount of participation and support that we get is unbelievable.